After a short break, Penn State football is back this weekend. Following the bye week, the Nittany Lions will face their toughest opponent yet, the Michigan Wolverines. Welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Cailey Thalman alongside Ethan Ellis and JC Colavita. Penn State has started the season 5-0 and Michigan has done just as well, starting 6-0. The undefeated teams will battle in Ann Arbor for the 26th time this Saturday. This rivalry dates back to 1993 when Michigan beat Penn State at Beaver Stadium in their first contest, and has been a highly contested, vicious matchup ever since. Since then, some of the Nittany Lions' most famous recent games have been against Michigan. So Ethan, I'm going to start with you. Tell me a little bit about the history of this rivalry and why this game is always so highly anticipated.
Well, I'm sure most Penn State fans remember last year's game where Michigan came into Beaver Stadium and beat the Lions, and this was after their bye week. This was after they were trying to rebuild their season, and it just completely derailed their season. So the interesting thing I found about this game is that two of the last three games have come down to one-score games. So Penn State's been able to keep it close. So the big key to this game, I think, is going to be, can they keep it close and can they overcome Michigan, since they've been able to keep it so close in the past couple of games?
Oh, Ethan, I know that game last year was very heartbreaking for Penn State. But I think the Penn State-Michigan, it's not really a rich history. You know, Michigan leads the series 15-10 just because Penn State only recently joined the Big Ten, and they were in different divisions up until a couple of years ago. You know, it didn't used to be the Big Ten East and the Big Ten West. It was the Big Ten leaders and the legends. You know that from NCAA 14. But the game that I always resonate with Penn State-Michigan is 2019 when you started the very first play with a false start. KJ Hamler went off in the whiteout. Penn State cruised to a win. But Michigan has really had the upper hand, especially in the tenure of James Franklin. He's 3-5 against the Wolverines, and it's just tough to see. And last year, Penn State was really within reach. They were leading in the fourth quarter, and then Michigan had that last touchdown with just a bit over 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and that was heartbreaking. And Penn State, they had, frankly, admittedly, a disappointing season that last year. But I think this year is different. Both teams are ranked in the top 10. It'll be one of the best matchups of the year.
Everyone remembers that 2019 game when Penn State forced Michigan to call a timeout on that first play of the game because Beaver Stadium was just so loud, and that energy seems to come with every game between these two teams. So transitioning a little bit to this season, both teams are undefeated. They've had a hot start, but they haven't really played any tough opponents so far. JC, tell me a little bit about how both of these teams have started the season.
So obviously Michigan has started 6-0 and Penn State started 5-0. Penn State with the bye week last week. But Michigan's strength of schedule is horrendous, and that's not an understatement. I don't know how you get away with playing three teams that are ranked beneath the top 100, not in the top 115 according to CBS Sports. UConn, Colorado State, and Hawaii. And Penn State schedules Purdue and they schedule Auburn. And those at the time, they're decent non-conference games. Yes, Purdue is a conference member, but they're in the West, not the East. They're not supposed to play them every year. But Penn State's average ranking in terms of teams that they've played, according to CBS Sports, is 69. Michigan's is 91. In theory, that should mean that Penn State should be ranked higher. Obviously, Penn State started the season unranked, but I don't like the way they played against Northwestern, especially 17-7. That's not a big enough margin if you want to be in the top 10. They had 5 turnovers. They have to fix that somehow. And Central Michigan, they didn't beat them. They didn't cover the spread at all. The spread was -25. They did not cover. And Michigan, on the other hand, they did not play well against Maryland. And Maryland is not a bad team by any means. Talia Tagovailoa, he is a really nice quarterback. I can't wait to see what he does at the next level. But they didn't play well against Indiana or Iowa. And Iowa has what arguably is the worst quarterback in all of Power 5 football. So I don't think that either team has really set themselves apart. But the Purdue win, Penn State, on that Thursday night at the beginning of this season, that looks better and better every week.
Yeah, you're right. These two teams have had ridiculously easy schedules. And while it wasn't really supposed to be that way, as you said, Penn State has shown out in a lot of these games, especially against Auburn, with that huge win that really showed off the freshman running backs in the backfield. But Michigan's also had some pretty decent games, but they've struggled recently, honestly, against Maryland, against Iowa, and Indiana. They really haven't been winning these games against the Big Ten opponents as they should be. And now they face a ranked Big Ten opponent in number 10 Penn State. So it's going to be interesting to see how Michigan reacts to this and if they can actually pull it off this weekend, because they have been stuttering. There are flaws in the team, and I really don't think they should be ranked 5th.
Yeah, I was actually really happy with the defense's performance against Northwestern. They held them to very few yards, but the offense is so inconsistent just with the number of turnovers they've given up. Ethan, what does Penn State need to do to beat the number 5 ranked Wolverines?
Well, one big thing in this game is Michigan's defense. They've only allowed 11.3 points per game, and while, yes, that has been against those lower-level teams, as we've documented, this is still going to be tough for Sean Clifford and the offense. I think one of the big things is going to be those freshman running back, Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. They're gonna really. This is probably going to be the first true test that they've had in their college careers, going into the big house with as loud as it is and as tough as the environment it is to play in it. But Sean Clifford's also going to have to make some good decisions, and where I think that starts with is the offensive line. They really need to, first off, open up holes for those running backs. But also, they need to give Sean Clifford the protection he needs in the pocket. He needs more time to throw, and if he does not get more time, he's going to make a bad decision and maybe throw it away, maybe throw an interception. It's not going to look good for Penn State's offense. Defensively, Joey Porter Jr. is going to need to keep doing what he's been doing all season. That is showing out. He's one of the top defenders in the Big Ten, and he's really going to need to have a game. One big thing I'm looking for are going to be defensive turnovers. They're really going to need to get the interceptions, get the fumbles, and maybe even get a defensive touchdown or two. If they can maybe get a defensive touchdown, this will keep them in the game.
Ethan, I 100% agree with you on the fact that Joey Porter Jr., son of Joey Porter Sr., all pro for the Steelers, needs to have the game of his life. He's projected to be a first-round pick at cornerback. I think that he would be a better safety. I think he could be a great Malcolm Jenkins type. But I think that Penn State, in order to win this game, they need to play well on defense. My key players for Penn State, obviously Joey Porter, he's got to have the game of his life. I need a pick, and I need a touchdown. I need a one defensive touchdown from Penn State in order to think they even have a chance of winning this game. And P.J. Mustipher needs to put pressure on the young J.J. McCarthy. And on the other side for Michigan, obviously J.J. McCarthy, he's going to be one of their impact players. This is his first test. He's a sophomore. This is his first really big start. You know, the previous 6 games, they weren't super high leverage, big deal situations. J.J. McCarthy may have some growing pains in this game, and if P.J. Mustipher can get to the quarterback, that's enormous. But everybody's thinking Blake Corum. Everybody's thinking the running back for Michigan, Blake Corum, is going to go off. He is. He's going to get 100 yards. That's just what's going to happen. It's Blake Corum. He's going to do that. But I really think that the key guy for this Michigan offense is going to be Ronnie Bell. He's coming off of an ACL tear last year, did not play against Penn State. He is currently Michigan's leading receiver, in both receptions and yards. I think that if he has a big day, it's all over for Penn State.
Yeah, I think a lot of Penn State's success in this upcoming game rides on Sean Clifford and the O-line's performance. I think if the O-line is able to protect Sean Clifford in the pocket and Sean Clifford remains accurate, I think the Nittany Lions have a chance to beat the Michigan Wolverines this Saturday. That's a wrap for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. This matchup should be a hard-fought battle that'll be exciting to watch. For Ethan Ellis and JC Colavita, I'm Cailey Thalman. Have a great night.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.